Did you get more?
A very good morning, dear friends and followers. And today we are flying the BizJet Worldtour of IVAO with the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And we're flying the Cessna Citation Longitude, which is standard aircraft of the Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think it's only accessible in the Premium Deluxe version, which I have. And we're flying from the northern coast of Spain, from Bilbao, to Portugal's capital, Lisbon. I prepared some stuff already, so let's hop into the aircraft. There we are, cold and dark still. So first of all, put that away and start the batteries. Generators on, standby power on, and the external power on, so we won't have any problems with the electricity. So I will now connect to IVAO, and then the flight plan is already loaded. Bilbao to Lisbon, wonderful. And we won't have ATC this morning, at least not in Bilbao, not in Lisbon. We won't have any ATC as well. But that's no problem. We can still have a wonderful flight this morning. And let's start to set up the GPS. Let me just check the flight plan. Where is it? There it is. So, flight plan. Origin airport is Bilbao. Destination airport is Lisbon. Departure procedure. Let's check the weather. We have winds varying, so I think I will use runway 30 for departure. Should I? Yeah, runway 30. Yeah, runway 30 should be fine. And we're flying the MTOS departure. Let me see, for runway 30. Let me just quickly check. So for runway 30, it would be the MTOS for Charlie departure. MTOS for Charlie departure, runway 30. No transition. Okay, load. Back to the flight plan. And we can see here we have MTOS for Charlie now in there. So at waypoint, the waypoint would be NEA. Here. Then we fly that to Addons. The next one would be InBom. I'm always wondering who thought about the waypoint names. Like who decided which one they take and why? I mean, some are clear, like city names or airport names or whatever, but some of them, well. And InBom is our latest waypoint. From there on, we will start the approach. And actually, there is. I just saw there's another aircraft at the airport. Cannot see him. He's somewhere back here. And he's departing from runway 12. So might be that the standard runway is 12. So in that case, we would take. Oops. We would take the AMTO. I think. No. 4 Bravo? Yeah. The 4 Bravo. I'll load that in. And yeah, we have Amtos and then Nia as next waypoint. And for Lisbon, for now we expect runway 03 for approach. So arrival. The InBom 8 Alpha arrival. There it is, runway 03. No transition yet. Load. And approach will be ILS 03 with the PACE-X transition. I think that should be it. I will just check the Navigraph charts if this makes any sense. Lisbon approach ILS 03. P6, yeah, that of course that makes sense. Okay, I load that in. And that's it. Now, let me set up the overlay so I won't forget it again. Let me see if it's working already. No, it isn't. So I am connected. Good question, good question. Ah, there it is. Use the overlay, okay. And then no, this is not working. Okay, then I have to create a new one. And there you go. There you are. Bilbao to Lisbon. Okay. Speedbacks. VR is 128. That's okay, and we will set that in over here as well. We are 128. Our cruising flight level today will be flight level 450 actually. Is it 450? 410, yeah. It's 410. So I can start to set that in. As we don't have any ATC, we can immediately climb to flight level 410. 410. And I will also set in the speed on a max of 250. And that's it. We are ready. So there is the aircraft departing. It's a Ryanair, isn't it? Yeah, it's a Ryanair. And there's another Cessna. Okay, so basically we are ready to go right now. We have everything necessary set up, and we can now start the pushback. So we have this little guy here coming over. It looks a little bit strange with his head turned sideways. There he is. And we will now start the APU. And you can see here the APU is running up 50% already. It's quite fast. 60. We will turn on the APU generator. 100. And you can hear it down here. At the end, APU is on. We will disconnect the external power. We will now turn on the anti-collision lights. And then we will release the parking brake. Turn backwards. A little bit slower. And then we are ready to set up the engines, are we? So we're starting number 2. We are waiting for 20% N2. (18, 19, and 20), and then we set start the engine. There you go. It's going further up. Temperature is going up. And we can close the security button here. And we can stop the pushback now. Stop it. We will now set the parking brake. So pushback is now completed. We wait until... Oh, by the way, I still need to refuel. Let me see. Block fuel is 2,600 kilograms today. So that makes it 1,3. Yeah, make it 1,360. Actually, like this. So we have a little bit more, but that's no problem. 60% N2, and we will now start number 1. This guy is away. Same procedure here. We are waiting for N2 to reach 20%. There you go. And we click on run. We will activate the pilot heat. And number 1 is stabilized as well. So we turn on the taxi lights. Oh, emergency exit lights on. We arm the ground spoilers. Release the parking brake. And we can start the taxi towards runway 12. And we're taxiing and taxiing. Actually, the airport is not that large, so it's not a big problem. It's not as long as a taxi time as for like bigger airports, like Frankfurt. Amsterdam is crazy. We talked about that last stream. I set the flaps for takeoff already. And we're now joining the Tango to the right. Actually, here it is. So this one would be the Bravo for the... no, this is Alpha 2. Bravo is there, according to the charts at least. And we need to take care about our taxi speed. You can see it here, ground speed is 80 knots. I'm on idle right now. You can see here, it's idle. And it's still accelerating. So I have to slow down all the time. Oh, by the way, you can see it also in the overlay, of course. I don't see that in the sim. So the runway is 2,600 meters, and we need 1,400 meters at least to depart. So I could take Charlie 5, which would be the next taxiway to the left, but actually I will taxi to the end of the runway just to have the longest takeoff run available. We can see here on the route we have it. It looks actually a little bit strange, but I will just check the charts, what the charts are telling me. We are flying the MTOS 4 Bravo, and actually I'm just climbing on runway heading to no, are we? There we are. I'm talking. Oh. So MTOS departure. Turn left, heading to Lucap. Intercept Bilbao, radial 082, inbound to Bilbao. And then Bilbao, radial 216 to MTOS. So actually we have to make a left turn after Lucap. I have to check that in the GPS again, if this is set up. So we are on the holding point, we're setting the parking brake, and then I will check that. So we are flying to Lucap, and then we have a left turn to Bilbao, and then we've continued to MTOS. Okay. I will just have a look if I turn on the heading, just in case we're turning into the wrong direction, so I can switch to heading mode, and then or actually we can fly this in heading mode anyway. 262. Say flight director on. We will climb with a rate of 2,600. to the altitude turned in. We have a speed of maximum of 210 knots in the turn, and we will set in the nav1 frequency of Bilbao, which is 115.90. We set that in. nav1, and we will fly that with a course of 262. Course 262 towards the VOR, and that's it. I will now broadcast that we are climbing to departing. Traffic departing runway 12. MTOS for Bravo departure. Transponder on. Landing lights. Oops. Landing lights. Pulse lights. Tail floodlights not necessary. Pilot heat is on. Release parking brake. And we start taxiing onto the runway. Flaps are set for departure. Now this aircraft, I mean, it's standard aircraft, but it's accelerating really fast. So we have really to take care that we set the auto throttle, the auto thrust to on right after we are airborne, because otherwise we will exceed the 250 knots quite fast. So we can keep the aircraft rolling, and we will now accelerate. We rotate, and we are airborne. Gear up. Auto thrust. Autopilot. Heading. We have the flaps still set. I think I really like this departure. I also... Oh, this is not quite runway heading. I also really like the arrival yesterday evening. I arrived here at night, or let's say sunset, and it was amazing with the mountains around us and all the fog in the valleys. That really looks great. So we are now on runway heading. We are now on runway heading, and we will now come close to Lukev. Oops, wrong direction. So to Lukev. So we have to climb direct to Lukev, so we are above the mountains, because if we turn after the departure, we have like the mountains are too close. And we will now start the turn. The left turn. To heading 262. And we just have to pass Lukev at 3,200, which we did. And we will have to pass MTOS at flight level 100 or above. This will be no problem as well. And I will now turn on the nav mode. Let's see what the aircraft is doing. Okay, it's turning right because I want to intercept the course here, but we will fly heading 290, so we will cross the course of 260 anyway. And we can turn it. We still have 210 knots, but we can accelerate now. Flaps up, because turn is over. And 270. Landing lights and taxi lights off, and we will now switch to GPS mode. And it automatically sees that we are at Bilbao VOR, so it's now flying direct to MTOS. We can accelerate 310 knots. And we can set the barometer pressure to standard. And standard. Why is it not working? Standard. Eh? Why is it not working? Also telling me push to set to standard. Okay. That's not working, so we have to turn it manually down to 2992, which is the barometric standard pressure. We have to do this here as well. Unfortunately, I couldn't find out how to turn this from altimeter setting into European QNH setting, because normally you can click like here this PFD button, and then you can change it in the options, but yeah, I didn't find it. Oops, I should turn on nav mode, of course. Whoops. It was strange because it turned already, but actually that was from the nav mode. So the nav mode deactivates once you click on here nav source GPS. Then the nav mode disconnects, so you have to re-engage it. And you must not forget that. Speedbox, we can clear out the rotate, and we will do that here as well. And there we go. We have a flight time today of 1 hour and 10 minutes. At least that is what is planned. And I think this is quite accurate. We are slowly now getting back on course. And we are still climbing. Actually, if I would click flight level change here, then it will climb as fast as possible while maintaining the speed. This will set the auto thrust to max, and actually the aircraft would climb with like 5,000 to 6,000 feet per minute, which is quite fast, and I think it's a little bit too fast. So I set it to manual 2,600, which should be closer to the real life climb rate, because it's climbing in real life with about 2,600 at max rate. We are a little bit lighter, so we could climb faster, like let's say 2.8, maybe 3,000, but yeah, that's too much. And also for the cabin altitude, you can see here, cabin altitude is at 3,400 feet right now. And I think if we climb too fast, then this would be climbing too fast as well, and that's like not really good for, or not comfortable for the passengers. And also, once we pass flight level 290, I switch from indicated airspeed to Mach number. We will fly Mach 0.82 as cruise speed. And so we're flying close to the max speed. I think the max speed is Mach 0.83 for this aircraft. So yeah, 82 is close to the max. Let me see what's going on here in Unicom. Okay, no, nothing for us. There you are. Wonderful Spain, northern Spain. I still love the flight simulator graphics, or the real life map data. There is also a freeware update to like change the Bing Maps to Google Maps. There are several YouTube videos online. I'm still not sure if it's like, you know, officially allowed to do that, to use the Google Maps for like streaming for, yeah. So I won't do that for now. We'll just collect some more information, and maybe I will show it in another stream in the future. But I'm not sure about that yet. So passing flight level 290, we will change to Mach. And we will fly Mach 0.82. We're losing speed, so I will reduce the climb speed to 1,900. And actually what we can do right now is we can switch to flight level change, because the thrust power is now at max already, so we're getting the speed, and then it's not that big of a deal. The aircraft is not climbing with like 6,000 feet per minute at the moment. It's just climbing, you can see 2,500 at the moment, and it's getting less and less the higher we get. So yeah, it is more real right now. Flight time remaining is about 43 minutes. weather selection. I think this is... I'm not sure if this is working, because I can change this to horizontal weather radar. But I've never seen something in there, so I'm not sure if this is working. But yeah. What I will do now is also I will check the PFD settings. I will have wind option 3, so I can see the wind here. And the angle of attack can be set to auto. And I don't need the terrain data at the moment. I mean, it's nice to have. You can see the rivers down here. If we go out now, look in front, then you have one river here, should be this one, the other one here, they connect here, it's this one, and you have another one from west to the right, more up here, this is this one. So it's nice to have, but when we're cruising we don't really need that, so we can turn that off. We will make it back on once we are descending. By the way, here you can type set in the COM frequencies and the COM2 frequency, and audio and radios you have to go here, nav1, nav2, and you can also set up the COM frequencies here, and then you have to go down, and then you have the flight recorder, marker, ADF settings. Actually, I'm not sure what about the clicks. You cannot click that. Also, mute settings and music is not working. Maybe this is coming to the aircraft with within the next updates. I don't know. But yeah, you can also, instead of scroll down this white line here, you can click here on down. And the anti-aliasing is not working quite well here. It's a lot of stairs down there, but yeah. And the speed actually reduced to Mach 0.79. I don't know why, so I set it to 82 again. So we stopped the climb basically to increase the speed first, because we have flight level change. That means priority is the speed. And once the speed is reached, we can start a climb again. You can see that here we reached now Mach 0.82, and we start climbing again. And then I will now calculate the top of descent. I will do that with the 3 degrees calculation method. So that means that I take the ground speed divided by 2, and then I just add a 0 to the end. So in the current case, that would mean we have 462 knots ground speed. We divide it by 2. Let's make it 460, so it's 230. And then we will add a 0. That makes it 2,300. So a 3 degrees descent would mean that we need to descend with 2,300 feet per minute. That's a normal, like 3 degrees is a normal ILS approach. By the way, you can see on the map here is our top of climb. And you can see as well we are at 40,200 feet, so we just need 800 feet to go, and we should reach that by here. beginning of the magenta line or pink or whatever it is. $500, 400 feet to go. 400. $300. And there we passed it. Yeah, it was close, but close enough, I think. So, and for the top of the descent, the calculation is basically quite easy. What we need is we need the final, or we need the distance to our flight level where we want to go at. So we're currently at flight level 410. Let's say we want to go to flight level 110. That makes it a difference of 30,000 feet. We take the 30,000 times 3, make it 90,000, and divide it by 1,000, and then we have the nautical miles we need for a 3 degrees descent. So at a point where we want to reach flight level 110, add 90 miles to that, start the descent with like 2,300 feet per minute. Actually now it's a little bit more because our ground speed increased, and you will reach that in time. And unfortunately I don't have the let's make it heading up. We can set the display here heading up, so that means our heading is in the north. We can make it track north, so that means we're always flying a straight line to the north. Or we can set it to north up, then it's north up. I like to set this as heading up, so it's, you don't have to, you know, calculate, but you can switch it as often as you want. So unfortunately I don't have any possibility to turn in or to see the final the distance to our airport, final airport destination. So I can try to do that, and I hope that I don't disrupt anything. Yeah, okay, perfect. I won't activate this, but I can see a distance of 277 nautical miles right now. So as we approach runway 03, which is in the south of the airport, that means that we fly around the airport. So that makes it a little bit longer as the just 277 nautical miles, which is not refreshing, by the way. But let's assume, or actually I can look that up. Let me set up the Navigraph stuff for you. Navigraph, there you go. Let me have a look. Lisbon approach ILS 03, and we have to start the ILS on 4,000 feet. So that means we are right now at flight level 410. If we want to reach 4,000 feet, we would need to descend 37,000 feet. Times 3 makes it 111,000. Divided by 1,000 makes it 111 nautical miles. Start the descent with a 3 degrees descent rate. And as we have to like circle around the airport because we're coming from the south, we have a little bit more distance than just the 277 nautical miles. So I will now try to set this up again to refresh it. Enter. And now it's 261. So this is a way to check the distance. Maybe I can also select airport. Maybe this is also a possibility to do it. Lisbon, distance 259. It's not refreshing, I think. It is. It is. That's great. So you can check airport info here as well. You have the frequencies, which is a very nice feature. Also the ILS frequency for runway 03, which is 109. Oh, by the way, you cannot see that. Okay. But actually, you can see it here. The 109.1 is also the ILS frequency, which is here in the charts. So, if you didn't see that, in the Garmin waypoint info, airport, here, LPPT, Lisbon, enter, and then you have the info here. You have the frequencies here. You have basically the runways here. You can see the runway length in feet. So runway 3 and 21 is 12,400 feet. You can divide it roughly by 3. So you have it roughly 4 kilometers long. Let me just check that on the charts. Okay, actually it's different. On the charts it says it's 2,1200 feet long, so that makes it 3,700 meters. With 12.4 it makes it roughly 4,000. Waypoint options, I can insert it on flight plan, show on the map, or go direct. I make it show on the map, and then there it is. I can also see the approach then. So we're coming here from the north, going westbound of the airport to the south, and then turn to the final for runway 03. Return. And what's important is the distance, 242. So we have 111 nautical miles when we need to start our descent. You can see it's quite dry here. It's not as green as it was in Bilbao, and of course it's not as green as it is like in northern France or Germany or Denmark, and of course not as green as it is in Great Britain. Well, they have a lot of rain over there. So we have not much to do at the moment. Just have an eye on the systems, that nothing is happening. At least nothing unexpected is happening. And let me just check the approach again. In bomb 8 alpha, yeah, for ILS 03, that's correct, okay. What we can do now is we turn off the APU, we don't need that. Rest can be stayed on. We don't need any anti-ice. We're fast enough, and also no clouds there. We have like a backwind of 36 degrees at the moment. That's quite nice. Makes us a little bit faster than we actually are. We're going now a ground speed of 485 knots. We planned of 468. Difference is the wind. We can now recalculate our top of descent because we have now the cruising ground speed. Of course, this can change when the wind changes, but then we have to calculate again and just refresh our descent rate, and that's it. So we right now have 485 knots ground speed. We divide it by 2, and to make it easier, we take 480. So divided by 2 makes it 240, and we add a 0 and makes it 2,400. So right now we would have to descend with about 2,400 feet to reach our expected flight level within the 111 nautical miles distance. And we can make a fuel check. I just need a calculation for that, because in this aircraft you can just see gallons, and I have to convert this into kilograms. So let's make it 607 gallons into kilograms. So this is roughly 2,536 kilograms. I have a look on the flight plan. We are now at Addons, and at Addons we should have 2 tons estimated fuel on board, and we have 2.5, so that's perfectly fine. We can now check the distance again. 198. So we still have a lot of time to go. $195. So let me just check something. Okay. So estimated time of arrival, by the way, you can see here 11:25 UTC. So that means, well, like this is the time calculated by the system when we will arrive. And actually, what I overspeed, there was a wind change here. You can see we now have headwind of 20 knots. So we have a headwind. I had the same problem yesterday. I think that's an IVAO problem, that the wind is changing rapidly. So we will now go a few miles and then it will change back, I think. So yeah. What I wanted to say is I didn't find the clock in here, so I actually don't really know what time it is. Yeah. I mean, it's good that you have the estimated time of arrival, but maybe no, this is changing too much. This is the time to the next waypoint. But yeah, I don't know where you can see the current time. That's a little bit strange, actually. I mean, waypoint nearest, yeah, but here's nothing here, just the calculated stuff. Oh, UTC, there you go, there you go. So UTC 10:58. Expected time of arrival is 11:27, so that means we have roughly 28 minutes to go. Let's see if this is correct. And let's check the distance again, 161. That's good. And I will now check or we can do that together. I just hope I don't forget to turn off the Navigraph charts again. So we are flying the InBom 7 kilo? No. InBom 8 Alpha. This is what we are flying. Max 280 knots, and we have to be below flight level 290 at InBom. And then you can see we fly here. This is the way we have to fly, and so we need to be at InBom at below flight level 290. So that means we can now calculate our point of descent again. I will turn here in InBom, and we have a distance of 70 nautical miles, and we need to be at flight level 290 or below. So from 41,000 down to 29,000, it's 12,000 times 3 divided by 1,000 means 36 nautical miles before InBom. We need to start our descent with the 3 degrees glide path. So we can be lower as well. We don't need to be at flight level 290. We can be at 280 to 50, whatever it is, just as long as it's below 290. And then we fly to PT 405, and we need to be whatever altitude but above flight level 70. So basically from Fatima to PT 405 we need to be in an altitude range of flight level 70 to flight level 250, somewhere in between. So for now we know that we start our descent 36 nautical miles before INBOM, or maybe a bit earlier. Then we continue to reduce the speed to 80 knots, indicated airspeed. We continue to Fatima, and we continue to descend as well. Actually, what we can do is we can tell that here. So we can tell RBOM there is no minus or something. We can just set the altitude, and I will set 290 just to have it in mind. Then we have Fatima here, and you can see it's already set up for 25,000 feet. We have to be below that, but yeah, we have the information here. And this is 22 miles, so that means from INBOM we have 22 nautical miles for to reach Fatima. And yeah. Oh, and of course I forgot to switch that again, so that you can see that. Oh dear, I always forget that. Well, anyway, INBOM flight level 290 and Fatima flight level 250, so turn it off. And we can see here that from INBOM to Fatima we have 22 nautical miles. So that's the important information. Waypoint info, airport 126, and let's check the INBOM again in BOM 43. So actually we can start our descent now. Let's make it to 40 versus, and we start our descent with 2,400. Yeah, and there is the wind change again. So we will reduce the Mach number to Mach 80, because we have to reduce the speed to 280 knots indicated anyway once we reach INBOM. And I will just get a new coffee and we'll be back shortly. And I'm back. Shortly before in-bomb, we will now switch back from Mach to indicated airspeed. We set 280 knots because we have to reach 280 knots at in-bomb, and we had 280 knots anyway, so that was a perfect timing. It's a little bit windy over here. You can see the aircraft is a little bit shaking. And we have 30 nautical miles to go to in-bomb. Let's increase that a bit to 2,600. But we are getting slower. We have just a ground speed of 440. So that basically would make us a descent rate of 2,200 feet only. But just to be sure to be below flight level 290, I exceeded it a little bit. Make it 2.6. That's perfect. We just have 8 nautical miles to go, and we are at flight level 300. So that's quite good. And then once we approach flight level 240 at Fatima, we need to descend further to like the final will be 4,000. So from Fatima we have let me just quick calculate that, plus 26.8. I will just calculate the distances we will fly on the star. So we have 97 nautical miles to go. 97 nautical miles to go after Fatima, and from flight level 240 to 4,000 feet are 20,000 feet times 3 is 60. So we need to descend 60 miles before we reach 4,000. So we don't have any altitudes now left on the star where we need to be below a certain altitude. So it doesn't matter basically how we descend. And we are approaching flight level 240, and we'll remain on that altitude for a bit. Actually, we remain it for roughly 30 nautical miles after we passed Fatima, and then we descend with a 3 degrees descent path to reach 4,000 feet by the time we are on the ILS. Here is the Atlantic Ocean. We're going now down the coast. Ten nautical miles to go until Fatima. And I can calculate the 3 degrees again. We have a ground speed of 3. Let's make it 380. Divided by 2 makes it 190. Add a 0 makes it 1,900 feet per minute. course, this is just a rule of thumb. It's just a rough like indication how we need to do things. But actually, as you just saw, it works quite well. And yeah. So what we will do now is we check, once we pass Fatima, we check the distance to the next waypoint. And as soon as this distance is reduced by 30 nautical miles, we will start the descent to 4,000 feet. There you go. So we wait until this is reduced. So we start our descent at, we want to have a little puffer. So we start our descent at, yeah, let's say 20, maybe 16 nautical miles. And I will now check the approach chart quickly again for the ILS. We have a minimum of 200 feet as we're flying a Cat 1. So I can set in the minimum here. Minimum radio altimeter is 200. Basically, this is a Cat 3 ILS, so we could let the aircraft even touch down. I don't know if this aircraft is capable of doing that, but yeah. And in case of a missed approach, we just climb straight ahead, runway heading to flight level 070, and we will contact the approach, which is not online, so we are on our own, but we will fly to flight level 070, so this is quite easy. So the approach, the ILS frequency is 109.1. This is done by the aircraft itself, I think, but just to be sure, I set this up manually on both nav frequencies. To be sure, by the way, nav 1 and nav 2, because there is no special or specific ILS frequency. I have the nav 1 here also engaged. For the moment it says no data. But as soon as it captures the ILS, there should be the data in it. And we also have the radar radio altitude minimum of 200 feet. As I said, we don't need that because it's Cat 3, but yeah, I just like to have it in, just to be reminded. We will, once we land it, we will vacate runway 03 to the right. And then we go to the... I'm not sure yet if we go to the hangars or if we go to the Terminal 2. I think we're going to hangars. Just to have our special guests picked up there. We just have 6 minutes roughly to go, and we will now continue our descent in a few miles. I can set the new altitude in already because it's on altitude hold, so We won't descend here. And we have to, like, we cross the PT 405 with max 250 knots. We'll now start a descent. 380, so with 1,900. And we have to reduce the speed once we approach this waypoint according to the star, but as there is not any other traffic around here, because we would see this on the display, there's one aircraft on the ground at Lisbon, but nothing more, so we can exceed this speed restriction on the star as as there is no other traffic, and also as we are above flight level 100. We have a ground speed of 370, so we would need to descend with 1,850 only. So you can see it's reducing already, and therefore we are descending a little bit faster than we would need to. So I can change that now. As we are approaching 360, I can reduce that to 1,800. And you can see the aircraft down here on the ground. I will zoom in as far as possible. Here you can see this little aircraft symbol at Lisbon. So that means you can definitely see other aircrafts online, and as there's nothing else around, I also have the IVAO map. As there's nothing else around, we can exceed the 250 knots on this waypoint here. Ground speed is now 355, so we can reduce this soon to 1,700. And we can reduce it even further once we reduce the speed as well, because of course the ground speed is going down then as well. And still the ILS is not captured, but this is no problem. What we need to set is the nav source. We need to set this to nav 1 in order for the system to capture the localizer. We will now activate the V approach, but we reduce this to 125 knots. And we also do that here, 125 knots. Wonderful scenery, and it's just sunset. I so love that. I will now broadcast our intentions on the Unicom frequency of IVAO. We are on the INBOM 8 Alpha arrival. Alpha for runway 03, inbound Audley. there is the airport of Lisbon, city of Lisbon, right at the coast. And actually, I think you can see the aircraft on the ground, maybe? No, you cannot. Cannot see it on the ground at the moment. I thought you could, but maybe from the cockpit view. No, you cannot see that. It's not created. Or maybe there are two aircrafts. No. Let's see. This flashing light here. He is actually what we are parking. We are landing here on this runway, and we're going to park over here. This is the hangar. Oh, actually, there are two aircrafts on the ground, and these are the aircrafts. Just the map just refreshed, so yeah, definitely. Okay, and I will reduce the descent rate. Oops, I will reduce it. That's what I mean. To 1.5, because we need to. No, it's refreshed here as well. I make it 1,500. You could even do it 1.3 because we're reducing the speed very soon as we are approaching flight level 100. Because the speed restriction down at below flight level 100 is 250 knots. So, oops. Wonderful. Isn't it wonderful? Fantastic. We could have descended a little bit faster and then we turn in here already, but we will fly the complete route. At flight level 110, we will reduce the speed to 250 knots, so we have it reached once we passing flight level 100. Which is right now, so we reduce the speed now to 50 knots. And we will turn on the landing lights and taxi lights. They have to be turned on below flight level 100 as well. Two 50 knots reached. Flight level 100 reached. So what we could do is we descend a little bit further, and actually then we will reduce this turn. Because at PISX we need to be at 4,000 feet. We will reduce the speed on to 220 knots, so we're a little bit slower. And we switch to heading mode. Switch this to nav1 mode. It's captured the ILS. See? Changed here. Course is set as well. And we will now turn the aircraft. Here is the glide path indication. And I will quickly broadcast my intentions. Turning final runway 03. So this glide path indication is going up now. I will turn my heading now to 060 in a second. And I will now turn onto 060. 060. And as soon as this little green line starts to turn towards the mid, I will activate the approach mode. Or nav mode first, and then the approach mode as well. Which is now. So nav mode engaged. And we will now activate the approach mode. So as soon as this green dot is approaching the mid, we should start our descent as well. We reduce the speed to 10 knots. See, and now we're descending. The runway is inside. The runway is over here. I'm not sure if you can see it on the screen already, but let me zoom in, maybe. So there's the runway we're going to approach. Flaps 1. We're now passing PSX. I'll reduce the speed even further. 180. There is traffic holding short on runway 03. Waiting for me to arrive. I told him that he can depart as well if he likes, because I'm on 10 miles out. But he wanted to wait. So, why not? Passing 2000 here on the radio altimeter. Gear down. Flaps down. Here you can see the flap setting. 1, 2, and full. So we're now on flaps 2. All done by the autopilot at the moment. We will disconnect the autopilot at 500 and then fly manually. The wind should be 060 at 6 knots, so it's quite calm. Reduce the speed even further to final approach speed. Let's say 130 first. Whoops. Did I activate the V approach? Yes, I did activate it. 125 knots. Eh? My... okay, something happened because my screen is now inverted. That's a little bit weird. Okay. Okay. That's strange. Oh no, it's back. Okay, I reset it. Okay. Radio altimeter. We passed 500. Flaps full. Speed 125. Autopilot disconnect. We're a little bit high, and a little bit off to the left actually. We're now fine. There's the other aircraft waiting. 40. Whoops. Yeah, landing is a little bit tough with this aircraft actually, but yeah. Reverse thrust. $60 knots. And we vacate next to the right, which is Charlie 7. Down here. Or Alpha 6 actually, it's Alpha 6. Alpha 6, there is an Air Europa. So, runway vacated. Parking brake is set, landing lights and taxi lights off, pulse light off, and we will inform the other traffic that we vacated. LPP traffic, runway vacated. So he already lined up. I clean up the aircraft. And then we will taxi straight ahead. Parking brake release, of course. Oops. Park brake released. And we can turn off the flight director. And we can also turn on the terrain again, so we see the taxiways. And the other aircraft is now departing. It's an EasyJet, at least an EasyJet color. Nice. And we are going, actually, I wanted to go here, and I will do that, to the apron, to the hangars. And we will start the APU. Oh, this aircraft is taxiing without saying anything on the frequency, on the Unicom frequency. But, yeah. We start the APU generator. We set a parking brake. And we can now stop the engine. That's it. Welcome to Lisbon. Welcome to Lisbon. So landing time was 11:37 UTC time. I need to report that lag. So I write down the information. So 11:37. But when was the start? Not sure about that. Online time is 1 hour 35. So started the stream at 10. So departure was like at I don't know, 10:10 or something. Okay. So this was the flight from Bilbao to Lisbon on the IVAO World Tour, leg number 5, I think it was. Yeah, leg number 5. And the next one I'm starting quite soon is bringing us from Lisbon to Ibiza. I will just restart the simulator and the stream, and then I will be back for the flight to Ibiza. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, I hope to see you back again in a few minutes.